The Retro Buzz starts right after this.
Hey guys, we're live for the Friday show that we always do, the Retro Buzz. And wait, let me look around here. No, he's not wearing a mask right now. He's
Not this time.
He's sitting in a chair.
My Captain Kirk chair.
Yeah, but
Okay,
you
I
never
can swivel.
you never do that.
I don't.
But
And I got my new little baby next to me too.
ooh, we'll get back to that in a little bit. But we've got Mr. Glen Planamento. We've also got Mr. Cool Toy today. We've got Douglas Smith. He's there. He's all ready to go. And before we introduce our guest, we have a little bit of a real quick some announcements to go over for some of you guys out there in the At Games community. There's going to be a brand new firmware that's going to drop tonight. From at least that's what I was being told. That's going to fix the Tron leaderboard. And you're like, well, big deal. Why are you announcing this? This is, the reason being is there's going to be a new Tron leaderboard that will be live starting March 21st at 12:01 a.m. Pacific time. Also, at the same time, the Tron Top Score Tournament kicks off. It'll end Sunday, March 22nd at 11:59 p.m., and the top 10 score placers will win free BYOG hours. So make sure you guys check that out if you're a Legends user and you want to get out there. And I know Glen's probably going to sign up, Mr. Tron himself, right?
Actually, it's a great game. I love it, but I'm not great at it. Typical for me, I'm not great at that game. My game is always asteroids. Of course, Pong. Go way back to Pong. Gotta like Pong.
Doug, are you gonna attempt to go down the road and compete?
Well, see, when you first said they were going to fix the Tron leaderboards, I assume you meant fixed in the context of they were going to put Glen up top just because he demanded it. So it was going to be a rigged leaderboard.
Well, that could be very possible. So
hearing that Glen is not as great as Tron as he potentially led others to believe, I'm absolutely gunning for him now.
Well, if you've ever played fighting games with him, you'll know he's not very good.
I slap at the best of them.
He did. But along with everything else in the world, there's really not a lot of news. But I did find out, guys, that the TurboGrafx 16, they actually have a date placeholder. Now, that doesn't mean, I get it, they have December 31st of this year as the release date. But Doug, I think you and I both think that it is just a placeholder date to show more and more, get more and more pre-orders. But are you thinking maybe 2 to 3 months we'll maybe see that hit the Amazon shelf?
I would think so. I mean, with it already was supposed to be here, on our doorsteps now, it already had the stock ready to go. So I think maybe 2-3 months max is the delay, and that's presuming this pandemic that's going on in the world kind of subsides and kind of mellows out and things kind of go to a pseudo normal thing. But yeah, 2 to 3 months, I think we'll see it back up, and we'll probably have it on our doorsteps hopefully.
And I Glenn, you have had me looking all over Tarnation for a original, and I have yet to find it. But I did get a good deal on a Sega Genesis. So
you did. Well, the TurboGrafx 16 or any of them are hard to come by regardless. And if you find one, they're expensive. You got to get a good deal. If you show you a picture of that thing, your Sega Genesis you got for what you paid, you got a very good deal. And the only question I had for you was, it's definitely a first gen run unit, but it does have the lockout chip. On the back of it, is there like a 9-pin Atari joystick style connector? Because that would mean it's the second revision of the original Genesis. If you don't have that 9-pin on the back, that's the third version of the Sega Genesis.
Well, it looks like there's a VGA type adapter thingy on the back.
Good. Okay, so you have the first run that has the lockout or the licensing chip, as they like to call it, but it's a lockout chip. So that's fine. They still got the better sound, which is what really matters. The Sega Genesis, as they got newer models out, the sound went right down the toilet. It got worse with each version. But that one, the sound should be fine in it, and you should be enjoyable. It's in good condition with the controllers that you got for that price. You got a good deal.
$35 system, 3 controllers, 3 games, shipped to my door.
Yeah, it's a very good deal.
Can't beat it.
Great
So,
Very good deal.
so I'm pretty stoked with it. Even though I had one that has like the all-in-one and you can put the cartridges in and everything like that, but I wanted an official one. But somebody else that's also in this space, we have a special guest with us today. He's been patiently waiting, and
Who could it be?
John does not have his finger on the trigger. He reassured us that. We've got with us Mr. David McIntosh from Arcade 1-Up. Welcome, sir.
David's in the house.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, guys. Really excited to be here.
Well, it's great to have you on here, and you guys have been feeling kind of like the depressing scenario that we've all been facing with some of our pre-orders from other video game outlets. Unfortunately, you guys are facing that same problem. A lot of conferences have been canceled. You guys didn't get to blow the roof off of a lot of your announcements, but you're still keeping a positive attitude, which is really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. With all these events canceling, it's definitely shifting our strategy, but by no means is it going to take the thunder away from our announcements. We just have to, strategically think how we're going to do that moving forward.
Yeah, everything's going online. Glen's online. Doug's on. We're all practicing social distancing right now.
You definitely want to practice it for me at this point.
So have you seen, David, any kind of delays on, I guess the Burger Time cabinet is the big one, right? That's the one that's been shipping. I've seen pictures all over social media that the product has been shipping. People have been receiving it on time. Is it still going as planned, even though the pandemic is here?
Yeah, so right before this call, I was on the phone with my logistics team to confirm what I can and can't say. But things overseas are actually, in what their words, clearing up slightly. So, factories are starting to go back up and businesses are starting to open up again. So we're actually rolling out a lot of our pre-orders, Burger Time being one of them. And we're actually almost out. So yes, to your question, things were slightly impacted in terms of once they got to the port, it took them longer to unload the boat. Just, they had to check them or whatever they do with these quarantined goods. Like, I have no idea what that process is. It just took an extra day or two for them to look at it, open it up, say everything's good. But besides that, everything's going business almost as usual in terms of like logistics. We are hitting a snag right now with risers. I know somebody commented on one of the posts when you introduced this live stream, asking about what the status was on some risers because they're starting to deplete. That's an example of something that's also being impacted with California's, ports and everything starting to close down. We are having an issue in our warehouse as well. We are having an issue receiving some goods. So there will be some delays in terms of parts and stuff, but so far it hasn't been too impactful on the business overall.
So maybe this might be conspiracy theory, but guys, what do you think? The same people that are hoarding the toilet paper are hoarding the risers. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just saying. But personally, I think the risers
build a throne for their toilet paper.
See?
Just build a massive mound, get your risers, and you've got this castle of toilet paper.
I'm just saying. Listen, the risers are more important in my opinion.
I believe it.
Yeah? So you think there's some truth to that, right?
You never know, honestly. I didn't understand the toilet paper. The hand sanitizer I got, but I do see a correlation with the risers. It's just like, right before this kind of started kicking off, we saw like a spike in sales. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have retailers now asking, they're putting in their purchase orders earlier than they normally would, because we're seeing people building their own man caves, like their at-home game rooms for extended periods of time in social isolation. When we posted the warehouse closure announcement on social, probably the top 5-10 comments were like, yeah, you know what? Like, we're just getting more of these machines at our house. to make the most of this situation. You can't really do anything but embrace it. So you may as well make it, a solid experience to, the extent that you can. So with the risers, we saw a lot of risers and general arcade machine sales spike and continue to do very strong in terms of sales. And it's actually kind of, expediting our vision almost of putting these arcade units or these arcade experiences into people's homes, because people are realizing, the one percenters who can afford it, they're putting pools and tennis courts in their backyards or in their property. And the middle class, they're putting arcade machines in their house, different forms of entertainment. So we're definitely seeing a huge transition of mindset, but also preparation for what's going on right now.
So P-Dub has a really good question in the YouTube channel chat. He said, do you guys plan on making more risers, or now is the business model switching over, and I'm paraphrasing, of course, to the risers coming complete with the arcade? Is that something that, for users that maybe just want the $2.99 arcade without the riser, they could still get it? Or is the business model switching over to now you get a complete riser graphic package for $4.99?
There's a few different thought processes on this. We're actually not we're not set on what the answer is. If the community wants them separate, we'll make them separate, because at the end of the day, you guys are the ones who are supporting us. You supported the Burger Time, the Marvel, all the direct consumer tests we've done to date, meaning selling units directly ourselves, not through retailers, have proven a success solely by our hardcore fan base, not the general Walmart consumer. Not that you guys are different or treated differently, but we found that the sell-through we're getting right now is significant enough to, if you guys say we don't want a riser, just like you said, we'd rather this be Burger Time, not Karate Champ, we have the ability to implement those changes, as long as it's like 3 or 4 months out before we ship the goods. And then the other mindset we have is price points. We want to have a tiered price point system in a perfect world where the entry-level consumer could try one of these out for $2.99. Somebody who's more into these can get like an average version with the riser, and somebody who's really into like the modding side of things, or having like that really polished looking unit, can get the bells and whistles included, whether it's light up marquee, the Sanwa buttons and joysticks, and now we're rolling out the light up deck protector, stuff like that. So we're hoping to implement a tiered system. I would, for my perfect world, there would be various different tiers, but that could also change depending on consumer demand and retailer demand.
What do you
Another
got?
question that popped in real quick from Zohar, super chat. Basically wants to know, David, will Arcade One re-release any of the older cabinets with better sticks, better sound, better features, specifically Mortal Kombat?
He doesn't want a lot, does he?
No, just a couple questions.
No, just Mortal Kombat. I actually don't. My team keeps telling me yes, but I've heard that answer for like 6 months now. So I'm told it'll eventually happen, but that comes back to like the retailer demand. So retailers are coming to us and said, hey, this particular unit, Street Fighter, Pac-Man, Mortal Kombat, they did really well. We'd like to introduce more of them. And just by default, as the years have gone on, our products got better. So screens, less what do they call that when you like it bleeds when you go over to the side, fades? I'm not entirely sure what
Light
the
bleed.
terminology.
Yeah, light bleed, yeah.
Yeah, light bleed. We omitted that. We upgraded some of our buttons from day one, joysticks, and deck protectors implementation, custom risers, etc. So the answer in theory is yes, but I personally, I don't know what my sales team has negotiated with retailers as of right now, so I don't know which titles in particular. I think Mortal Kombat will be one of them, Street Fighter likely as well. I'm not entirely sure which of the Wave 1 titles are for sure going to happen, and if they do, probably Q4 of this year. If this situation resolves itself in the next couple months, that's likely what's going to happen.
Hey, Doug, Eminem has a question for you to ask David there in the YouTube.
It says, when will Arcade One Up make their own light up marquees? Will they make them for all games? So I know there's probably some people out there looking for older Generation 1 light up marquees, but they're looking to see just officially, can they buy light up marquees separately?
Yeah, we want to implement those. I think right now Scott's making the decision, do retailers want it? Do we want to sacrifice the shelf space we have to roll these out? Because you got to imagine the amount of SKUs we have. how much shelf space that would take up. And, in the space of 6 of these light up marquees, you could probably fit another SKU of arcade machines. So from a business perspective, especially with retail space being so limited in today's day and age, it's tough to make that call. So if we do it, which I know the team's planning on doing it, it'll probably be direct to consumer on our own website. And I'm not entirely sure if it's going to cover the full range or, just the most popular titles. But the solution that I've seen so far will be able to retrofit to an existing machine. So if you bought Wave 1 Pac-Man, you'll likely be able to buy a Wave 1 Pac-Man light up marquee upgrade hopefully soon. And that's probably Q4 if they do it this year.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And Glenn, you have is that just, I'm sorry, I just saw your name was highlighted. I don't know if that's go ahead.
Yeah,
I did. No, I did.
Very resounding compliment.
Go ahead.
I can't
read
read it to myself. That'll make my head this big. I
All
can't
right,
read it to
all right,
myself. I need Doug. You got to read it. You got to read it.
All right, I'll read it.
Go
Says,
ahead, Doug.
Glenn, this is from Zohar. This is another super chat. It says, Glenn, I love your global fan page on Facebook. I think you're a genius to bring communities together like that. We need that right now. Thank you.
Oh, there we
get
go.
And
Hold on.
it's 3 times
Wait,
bigger.
I'm trying. Hold on. I'm trying. I'm trying. It's
He's-
getting bigger, but I'm trying to hold it in. I am.
We'll let
Thanks,
Glenn.
Zohar. I appreciate it.
We'll let Glenn's head deflate for a little bit. We'll do a quick plug for us here, and we're, like I said, we're not really making anything on this, but you guys asked for it. We've got Retro Buzz t-shirts. There's probably about like 10 of you guys that have ordered this already, so thank you for those that already ordered it. There, and I'm going to be completely transparent with you. $2 is made for every shirt so far, and they're at a really cheap price right now. That money I'm going to take and put into, people have asked for the embroidered hats. It's kind of like my Tech Buzz one that I wear, but we're going to get a Retro Buzz. It's $50 to get the screen made for the embroidery. So all that money is going to be put back into that. So we're essentially, I've already talked to the guys, we're making nothing on it. We don't want to make any money off of it, but you can come on here and you can pick any color that you want. Whether you want that's the front. The back has
The best part
the
is the pictures look so much better.
And yes,
I'm a human.
And Glenn does not look like a look. I'll zoom in. Glenn doesn't look like he was punched in the face by Mike Tyson. See?
Or Doug. One of the two.
Hey, I'm not a violent person. I'm a pacifist.
Oh,
so there's some other
it could have
stuff.
been just you practicing,
You can get hoodies, you can get stickers, kids shirts, mugs, all different colors. We have that available. If you go to the techbuzz.net/store, or you can go to tpublic.com/ I think it's the Retro Buzz or it's the Tech Buzz. I'm not sure, but it says the Retro Buzz store that you can go in. And like I said, we wanted to find a place that was inexpensive to make these shirts, right? So, people aren't paying an arm and a leg for a shirt. And
that's right. As a matter of fact, right now they're actually cheaper than buying toilet paper. So it's a bargain.
You may have to use it as toilet paper one day, but hey, we can't do that. We can't say that. But so, David, I've got a question for you in regards to the Arcade 1-Up. Where you've heard this on other shows. We've talked about it with John D in nauseum. But for me, running out of room for the arcades, what I'd really like to see, and I don't know if this is something on the and if the community agrees, I'd like to see some special edition type cabinets, something that has special edition markings on them that kind of become like a collector's type of a cabinet, kind of not like the Marvel, because the Marvel was just like a certificate. Nobody would walk into your game room and know that it's a limited edition, but something that just kind of screams limited edition, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're working on stuff. I don't want to give anything away, but essentially, you'll look at a unit that's in the marketplace, and there'll be noticeable differences. And actually, one of our new titles will probably roll out with that in the next 3 to 6 months. So we hear you. It'll scream collector's piece. It'll have its own, features. I'm trying to think how to say it without saying it, but it'll definitely have a point of difference where you'll look at it and you'll say, okay, that's a rare piece of machinery right there. It'll be like the Ferrari of arcade 1-ups, the next level up. For sure.
Is that in relation to
the Tech Buzz cabinet? That's a Tech Buzz cabinet. They say it. I spilled beans on it.
The P-Dubs. P-Dub wants to know if you can elaborate on this whole light up deck protector. Am I reading that right there, guys, on YouTube?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So our NBA, I think it's the $4.99 version. It's gonna have NBA all the Frogger and Pac-Man 40th, there's going to be versions that have light up deck protectors. So when you have your arcade room on dim lighting, just like most people do, Steven, your arcade room is probably the best example of that, how it's always like, blue and dark, but you'll be able to see the light up marquee, it'll glow, and then you'll be able to see the deck protector, just kind of like the third arcade the third machine in there. It'll just emit light. It'll just add an extra to the control panel, and it'll be easier to see the buttons as well and the joystick. So if you're gaming in the dark, like a lot of you guys do, it'll just add that extra spark to the point of having points of difference on our units. That'll be a significant one.
Okay, another
Very
thing that
cool.
we see here in the chat room from Cursed Existence, wanted to remind David to spill the SDCC19 story that John D says is very funny.
I actually have that written down
Yeah.
on my paper here to hammer him with that.
David doesn't seem too
That's
excited
funny.
about it.
It's hard because like there's a fine line you walk as like a PR guy where what you can and can't say.
Dude,
so
tonight
there's
it's
so many parts of that story that I probably couldn't
It's just
say.
it's just S3.
it's just
It's
we're just
S3
sitting
you,
here
man. There's no one
chilling.
else here.
Yeah, or you could just do air quotes and say
Yeah.
allegedly. Live.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to go into full on PR
Yeah,
here.
yeah,
Just
so-
let it loose. Scott's in there. He ain't gonna care.
Right. So I'll try and make like a PG-13 version of this story. So this was recently.
You got to do
so
it like
I
John
did a
D.
team in like John D. How? Oh yeah,
You
no
get-
rules. Okay,
you
that's how.
no
he does
rules.
it.
There it
Come on.
is. Come
Where's
on.
my jewel? Hang on, I'm just gonna get my vaporizer really quick. I'm kidding. So yeah, John and I had worked together for a couple months prior to this outing, but it was our first real night of like getting to know each other and like kind of bonding as colleagues. So we went out and like just had a great time. We went to various different parties in San Diego throughout Comic-Con, and needless to say, he can hold his alcohol a lot better than I can. So after venturing out in the evening and parts of the night not being fully clear, the next morning at the booth, I showed up. I don't know. I think the show started at like 9 a.m. And I'm talking to my friends, and I was just like, hey, or like, sorry, my colleagues, and I was like, hey, like, have you guys seen John? They're like, no, not yet. I don't think he's up yet. And I was like, oh God, it was so strange. Like, I went out to the bar with him. I got kicked out of one of them, and then I tried to get back in, and he just left me, man. The guy left me high and dry. He went out to party with all the people we were with, and he he just fully ditched me. Like I thought we were good buddies, and, anyway, so I felt sick to my stomach. Hang on. So I felt sick to my stomach at this point. I went to the washroom. I came back after like 20 minutes, and they're like, hey, John just swung by, but his story's a little different than yours. So what happened was, apparently I had gone to the bar. They didn't let me in for appropriate reasons, I presume. And then he had walked me back to the hotel and said, hey, buddy, this is it. Like, go to your room. I think you've had a good enough night. And I didn't know he dropped me off at the hotel. So I walked for probably 20 blocks, got lost in San Diego, and had to take a cab back. And all the while, he had dropped me off at the hotel that I needed to be at in the first place. Throughout that journey, the 20-block walk I had taken, I, met strangers, became friends with these guys at a different bar. Like, it was a crazy, crazy, crazy night. So yeah, that was really that's the PG version of the story without going too far into the details. But it was a great time. That was the first time I got to know him, and we pretty much did that.
That's a good PSA. Anytime you're going out drinking with John D, be careful.
You'll never know where you end up.
Yeah, the guy's a good time. He's a. If you ever want a good time, whatever event you're at with John D, ask him to take you out, and you either won't remember or it'll be one you can't forget.
Oh my, we got some super chats here to get through. Glenn or Doug, you guys want to hit that up?
So Daniel May says, when will we see new cabs in Australia? Any updates on worldwide?
Good day, mate.
Yeah, so we're currently working with a distributor in Australia. No timing, because I've been asking for timing for the last couple months now, but the conversations are on, the orders are in. It's just a matter of when they get there, and we're trying to figure out. I know it sounds like easy to just send something to a different area, but you have to do different testing for different regions and different warranties and stuff like that. So the product needs to go through like retesting, and we have to put different plugs on them, and it's a bit of a process. So it is taking place. Australia will be definitely getting some in the near future, but no timing. Probably, like, if I were a betting man, I'd say like 5 months roughly. Could be shorter, could be longer, but that's probably like the safe number.
They got to take those big Foster beer cans and those big daggers that they have out there. That's not a knife. That's a knife. You got to be careful with that stuff on the cabinets.
That's funny. We had a few other ones. Somebody asked about Golden Axe time frame, and I know you're probably not going to be able to give a time frame, but if you had to estimate, if the virus wasn't here, what would have been your estimation?
Yeah, we were hoping for like a Father's Day launch on that thing. Probably not going to happen. Just to be candid with you guys, like every title that we showed at CES will probably be in stores by, holiday. That's like the safest bet you can say. But who knows? Like this whole global situation could go on for a longer time than we hope it will, and that could impact decision making. But so far, like I mentioned earlier, the factories are still running right now, and the only issue is that we have a port in California that's just been closed. So that could impact things, but the company's so adaptive that I don't see it really impacting us significantly unless, this issue worsens for an extended period of time.
I think that's something.
Yeah, I'm hearing.
Yep.
I'm sorry, I just want to say real quick. I'm
No, go
hearing
ahead.
from my people across the pond, or actually south pond, anywhere in China, that factories are now at about 75-80% back to normal, but they're still not there yet. And and even at running at that capacity, they're still months behind, so they still have to do a lot of catch up. But they'll get there.
That's
exactly
what I was going to say to you, Glenn. People don't realize that even if we get back to normal, somewhat normal by mid-May, you're talking about possibly 6 months of backlog that they got to get through. So
right.
I think
absolutely.
David's spot on by saying like holiday this year, Christmas this year, somewhere around that time frame.
Right.
Because
and that's all still depends on if things don't come back in another wave. I mean, right now it's been good. We're still in the midst of it here, but there's no telling right now that this couldn't start up again in China and bring the factories back down to a close for a longer length of time. So it's going to be hard for Arcade One, for anybody to give any kind of dates at this point.
Yeah. So unfortunately, that's
I mean, David could be driving an 18-wheeler this summer for all we know. Like all hands on deck. David would need you to go pick up a couple containers worth of product. How good are you driving a Peterbilt?
You got to sneak them across the border from Mexico.
Well,
can you do that?
Yeah.
I prefer Mack trucks, but I'll get the job done if I need to. All hands on deck.
Good man. Good man.
Yeah, it really has been all hands on deck lately. Like each department is kind of spreading its wings and helping out as needed. With customer service being a part of the warehouse in California that's closing down. Myself and quite a few others are in different departments are helping out as needed. So it really is all hands on deck mentality, because we know consumer safety being number one priority, and then we have customer satisfaction as well, which is really close up there. So it's hard to balance how do you keep somebody happy but also keep your team safe. So right now I'm in my house, and a lot of people are, because I'm based in Canada. It's actually going to be really difficult for me to travel, especially with US and the border situation happening right now. So it's definitely nerve-wracking, but the way the business is set up, we have teams almost in every like major city, so we're able to be agile and help out as needed. We just don't have a lot of toilet paper, that's all.
There was another super chat that came in from Zohar. If you re-release a limited edition version of Mortal Kombat, I would pay $500. No, I'll pay $600 if you can go with half sticks. So just another option out there if you guys do it. But again,
Dude,
even if
you
buy the Mortal Kombat,
yeah,
exactly. You can get a Mortal Kombat now, and you can put your own half sticks in. It's not a hard thing to do. But I understand what he's trying to say. He's just trying to say, hey, that's what I'm getting. It's just an option. I'm just laying out options.
Yeah.
Just like that.
No, I hear you. I'll build one myself and ship it to you for 600
You got to
bucks.
sign it.
I
You
think
got to
that's a
sign
deal.
it too.
You got to sign
You
it.
gotta,
You got to
you gotta
sign it.
The
deal
David McIntosh
Yeah.
special.
That's it.
We got a question in the chat
I
from
have
Pete.
really.
It says, David,
yeah,
will
go
you
ahead.
confirm how close you guys are to having 1 million cabinets sold? John D had mentioned it, but it retracted it a month ago, said that they were close. Maybe hadn't hit that mark yet. You guys, have you communicated with the sales department? Do you know if you guys have hit that magical, impressive number yet?
I didn't know we hadn't. I thought we had. It's if we hadn't, we're very close. It's definitely up there. But I don't know. I mean, I'm marketing. They don't really come to me with that stuff. They just say,
Jesus.
sell these goods, and I get to work.
Between
Yeah.
me, Steven, and Doug, and P Dubs, and Retro Ralph, we probably got you close to 1 million already.
Yeah.
Yep. True. Yeah, we're up there for sure. And if I think the reason John retracted it, because it may not have been there may have been sold. I think he's looking for a number sold through at retail versus sold in. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
I think we have exceeded that number. It's just a matter of
A true transacted
at the register
amount.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but
Gotta
I
have
think
it.
that's
Gotta-
999,000 is still very impressive.
It's-
So.
Yeah, yeah.
We got another question
the team
from
did a very
Unqualified
good job.
Critics as well. Unqualified Critics basically want to know if you guys ever considered adopting like a numbskull type of strategy, going a little bit smaller, on your desk type. I know you kind of do it with the, the Coleco mini case type of thing, but more of a arcade design in a slightly bigger, smaller yet bigger factor, I guess. Bigger than Coleco, smaller than your arcade one-up is at the moment.
Have you guys seen the new countercades we showed off at CES? Those are pretty, they're a tiny bit smaller than the original countercades, but those are going to be like the hottest item, I think, for us in terms of units sold, because they're going to be at like $100 retail price point versus the $200 countercades. And it's the same joystick button configuration. It's the same scale in terms of buttons and feel and play. The team just happened to redesign it in a very intelligent way to bring the cost down significantly. So I think that may be the solution you're looking for. And if not, we're always expanding into new categories, as you can see. I think at CES we announced like 6 products, but like 6 new product categories with various new products within each category as well. Like the company's going wild.
Are those?
Here's my product development team, because I know they're watching.
Are those kind of affected by the shipment also, or are we going to see those anytime soon? Because honestly, I'd like to get a Dig Dug one and put it up here on the, as part of like a in the show type thing, like I do with some of the other stuff that I have. For $100, I mean, like you said, that's going to be you can't beat that price. Is that something that's going to be coming soon, or?
And if you don't get it that soon, Doug could dig a hole for you too.
Yeah.
There you
right?
go. Jack of all trades. Jokes. Yeah, those should be coming out soon. Probably next couple months, probably.
Cool.
Oh, sweet.
Things may change. Who knows? Like, I know for a fact they're on their way. Yeah.
So I mean, we're gonna get them from
That's
Arcade
like
One Up, or do
man.
we go to Walmart, GameStop? What is that going to be, an Arcade One Up exclusive? What are we talking?
We got way too much buy-in from retailers on that item. The biggest feedback we had from retailers was the price point was a little high. You know what I mean? I'm sure we can all relate to that. I thought that, my product team thought that, but
Agreed.
At the end of the day, the cost for the unit, it was definitely up there. So our PD team went to work and just re-engineered the entire thing and found a way to bring the cost down. They looked at, different materials in terms of wood versus plastic, just to really bring it down. But I don't know how they figured it out with wood, but they managed to get it. So, again, kudos to that team. And it would be available probably most major retailers. But I think one retailer is talking quantities to the point where they're maybe looking at exclusivity, but we don't know that yet. So to be determined.
And I misspoke for Unqualified Critics. I guess he was actually looking for the same scale, the same 3/4 scale you do now, but just much more arcade accurate is what he's really looking for. So the same form factor you make now, how are you considering making them much more realistic to the actual cabinet design of the arcade versus the generic design we've had in the past?
Yeah, I think you're seeing that with like Burger Time and Star Wars, Pac-Man 40th with the cabaret style side panels. I think it's like it's a goal of ours to get as close as possible, but you also need to have a differentiating factor as well, like what your unique selling proposition is in terms of like a market positioning. So you got to think, why would let's say, I'm not going to use any names, but like a traditional arcade manufacturer wants an exact replica at an eighth of the price. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta figure that there has to be some point of difference. But we do want to get it closer to arcade perfect, and I think you'll see with that special edition I was talking to you about coming down the pipeline with that really unique Ferrari-esque design and value. You'll start to see that too. And I apologize for the pitter patter. My dog's just running all over the place in my apartment right now.
No, you're.
Where's your dog? Let's see your dog. Where is he? What kind of dog?
I'll bring
is
him
it?
up in just a sec. Hang on, I got a French bulldog.
Ah.
I'll be
So
right back.
Meat bag.
Cut to commercial break.
with you guys in the chat room here, real quick, while David grabs his dog, you guys in the chat room on Facebook, if you've got questions, I know we're not catching everybody there, but if you can do like at the Tech Buzz or at Steven or at Doug or at Glenn, so that way we can make sure that we see them. We're seeing some on YouTube because some of the guys are doing super chats, which unfortunately there's no way to do that on Facebook. So just kind of put the @ symbol right before our name and it should come up. Or I don't know if David's even in Facebook. If he is, you can do that as well. But just want to kind of put that there so everybody kind of knows. But it looks like David's got his dog. There we go.
We got his dog. He's cute.
Oh,
There we go.
I'll bring him up.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, there we go.
Star of the show.
What's his
Bulldog.
name?
His name is Louis.
Louis.
Hey, buddy.
And
Louis.
now the views just
He's a good boy.
tripled because we have a dog on there.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
While you're holding your dog there,
He's a
we have
good
another
boy.
Zohar question about any chance of increasing the 17-inch screen size to like a 19 or bigger.
There will be a unit with a bigger screen down the road. I know that, but I can't again talk about it at the moment. It's just a project. We're working on expanding the screen size. I don't know if it'll be the same scale. I don't know if it'll be the same form factor, but we understand that screen size has been one of the big comments. So the issue we have, right, is that we've made so many of these things that you get a fantastic deal using the same size screen. So to go into different markets, the price point would then have to increase. So it becomes one of those, for those of you who were here from the beginning of the show, when I talked about tiered arcade machines, it would probably become one of the top tier options if we ever do follow that business model.
I like that idea. I am one of those guys. I'll just be honest. Like I have the Golden Tee and I have the Turtles that have the color risers and stuff. But I going back, I see a lot of people asking about the riser shortage and everything like that. I'm kind of with them. I really like the black risers because all my other arcades have the black risers. I'm not one that a lot of these guys are putting screens on them and putting graphics on them. I'm just kind of like, it looks good with the black. And my fear is, yeah, like this clown right here. Show that again. Yeah, like that. So you have something like that, and next thing you know, like I have a 7-year-old and I have an 11-year-old. How long before their foot goes right through that because they're sticking their foot on top of it? Or well, if it's Glen's face, they'll probably just like kick it in. But
I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, that's my big fear with like even putting a graphic on it. My son has a tendency when he uses a stool over there, he sets his feet right on top of the riser, and then he'll kind of do this with his feet, and it could like peel the graphic. I don't know. Maybe I'm over paranoid, but I'm just.
Well, that's why they're called kick plates.
Well,
yeah, he
yeah,
kicks.
that's right.
He kicks him.
Yeah.
He does kick him, but he kicks the riser more than anything. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on that.
Can I throw in somehow into what you just said, having options? Can I work that into that somehow? It's nice to have the option to have that if you want it.
What, a generic riser or Glen's face on all the risers?
Glen, that would be great, actually. I think you should, because people could kick my face all day long. It happens at work. Might as well happen when you're home playing as well. Just kick me in the face.
We got a super chat from Sean Powers. It says, David, will there be a Burger Time joystick fix? The 8-way is just so frustrating and annoying to play Burger Time.
Oh, that's sad to hear. Yeah, we'll have some stuff on that soon. We'll have some proper messaging to go out. We understand that that's an issue. We figured out it was an issue at CES and at Toy Fair, but at that point it had gone through the manufacturing process. So there definitely will be a solution in place in the near future. Thanks for hanging in there, though, and we appreciate your support on the Burger Time unit. You'll be happy to hear what we have to say in the next couple days.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
John here is asking about the drunken San Diego Comic-Con story. He missed it, unfortunately. John, I told the PG-13 version.
So,
Always
John, if you
revealed.
want to come in at the post show and tell us the R-rated version, please join us at the post show.
Oh,
David's like, no.
well, hey, he can do whatever he wants. That's the thing. That guy doesn't have any
Filter.
training wheels on him, so he can do as he pleases. Yeah.
So what about the pinball? Let's talk pinball a little bit.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
let's do it.
how, obviously, again, this is all impacting the pinball. Is it likely? I mean, because I know you guys, if I'm not mistaken, that was kind of like a Q3 launch or even holiday launch of this year. Is that going to push that into 2021 now for a launch?
Oh no, this is gonna be one of our blockbuster items this holiday. Get your credit cards ready, boys. She's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the one David is
Yeah, it's
driving
gonna
the
be
match
huge. I
truck
mean,
to pick up and make sure everyone gets on time. Yeah.
Save some of that
yeah,
tax
that's right,
refund
man.
money.
I'll hop in a pickup. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, save up. The kids are gonna be like, "Hey, where's my Christmas presents?" And I'm like, "Oh crap, I forgot about the kids." All right, well, you can play on the pinball
Well-
machine. You know, you
I know a lot of people are getting toilet paper for Christmas.
right? Yeah, that's a good gift. That's better than gold these days.
Somebody needs to create a
Why's
video
my
game
gift
called
wrapped in
that.
paper? They should. Well, they had Booger Man. That was kind of close.
Yeah, I guess that's similar, right? That's funny. So we got the.
P-Dubs wants to know if David vapes.
Oh boy.
Ah, yes. Important
Uh,
question.
Not the e-cigarette kind of vape, but I'll leave it at that.
Well, you're Canadian, so
Yeah,
it's allowed.
yeah, it's legal up here. What I do, yeah. Got to relax somehow. You know what I'm saying?
It's medicinal.
Yeah. Call it what you need, man. Helps you sleep, helps you eat, relax. It's like a vacation, you know.
Walk 30 blocks,
To each their own.
40 blocks, find yourself at some strange hotel somewhere,
Whoa.
talking to some guy you just
Yeah, I
met
don't
in the
drink
corner.
anymore after San Diego Comic-Con. I kind of cut back on my drinking, so vaping is the safe way for me to enjoy an evening. Yeah.
Are you sure that John didn't spike your drink? That happens too,
Trust me, it wasn't there wasn't anything funky going on. It was just looking back at it. I have like pictures of us just taking shots, and there's like 30 different pictures, 30 different drinks. So it wasn't nothing funky going on there. Just too much lightweight,
It's
So
interesting.
as far as all the machines you've been selling, how have your cocktail tables been doing? Because I actually really like the black, the Pac-Man cocktail table. Are we going to see more items in that form factor?
Certainly, yeah, the category is doing very well, and retailers that wouldn't normally carry us or wouldn't normally sell arcade games are really interested because we've now entered a functional furniture category with those things because we see them as playable cocktail tables, head-to-head units, whatever you want to call them. Retailers look at them as a coffee table that has a ton more value added. If you go and see like a nice high-end coffee table, it's in the relative same price range. You can get one that does nothing, or you can get one that you can jam out on your favorite retro games. Plus, it has authentic artwork and stuff. So for us, the category is doing very well, and we're getting a lot of retail pickup as well. So you'll definitely see new titles, new form factors, maybe. So definitely keep your fingers on the pulse there on all of our social media pages for the latest news.
Well,
How has your Pac-Man Atari joystick, the Retro Ralph edition, how have those things been progressing?
Well, they're great, except we're shipping them with the head backwards now, so there won't be any communication or miscommunication on those things. But yeah, they're also doing very well. Lots of retail interest on those things. They're going to be like a huge party favorite in the near future. It'll be like the quarantine favorite for sure when you have the family over, the friends.
Yeah.
Keep it
Well,
to yourself.
they were definitely
Yeah.
a favorite for parties, I think, beforehand, but I think you added family to it, which is important. So that's good.
Yeah, definitely. We're making a PG-13 version.
Let's go back to the cocktail tables real quick. Price point on that. Do you guys feel like you hit the mark with that, or do you kind of feel like the way some of us do for what it is and the size of it, it's a bit pricey for what it is?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. At the end of the day, like I don't have too much say in terms of pricing, right? We source it, they get it made, and I just sell it, you know. So I agree with you. Like I hear what you're saying. It's kind of like the countercades. Consumers really drive the business. So if you guys continue to give that feedback, then it's likely to implement change on subsequent products.
And somebody wanted to know the recessed monitor. Is that something that's going to happen going forward? I guess kind of like, and I lost the chat because it went up there, but I don't know if they're referring to the way like Golden Tee is and some of those other ones that have that recessed glass.
Yeah. So on games that it works, they'll do it. You know what I'm saying? Like if you got to consider the design of the unit, the depth of the unit, and stuff like that. So if you guys keep wanting more recessed screens, like by all means, just keep giving that feedback. I think it's Pac-Man 40th, Golden Tee, and a few others that they're starting to roll it out on, and it's getting tremendously good feedback. So we're definitely going to keep that momentum and keep designing them that way if that's what you guys want.
Unqualified critic said that he was fine with the price point, but he said it was about 7 inches too short. I know he went out and put little legs on the bottom to raise it. Would that be an option like you're kind of doing with your pinball machines? We have maybe some adjustable legs that can drop down and lock in place to raise it up a little bit for some people if they want that.
That's actually really smart. I personally haven't thought of that. I'm sure the team has, but if not, that should be like an accessory or like an option, something maybe you retrofit to the existing unit. I don't know. I'm sure there's like a cheap solution out there to mod your existing one, but when the team did the designs, it's actually like an inch or two shorter than the original cocktail cabinet. So it's like 98% scale in terms of height. So I think the team did a fantastic job in terms of hitting the scale. But I do agree with you. You do bend over a little bit playing it. I mean, I'm 6'2", so I do feel a bit more hunched playing it, but you know, overall it's still a great experience. I just think if you want it raised, you know, currently look for options to get it taller yourself, and maybe down the road we'll look at options to make it taller ourselves. But it's tough when you look at the design of the unit and the features and stuff and the packaging. There's not really like an inch of breathing room in any of the design we have, and it has to be certain heights for certain reasons, whether it's UPS shipping or FedEx shipping limitations or shipping weight and stuff like that. So I think they've really pushed the limits in terms of what's doable, but doesn't mean that they can't implement innovations moving forward. So, you know, great feedback. I don't know the answer.
And good options. I know you can buy these small little like peg legs you would put on, you know, furniture. And I think it's what unqualified critics have done. So you can definitely do it. Just an option. It would kind of be nice on the sides, maybe a hit a little button to drop down the legs and lock it in place. Just little feedback. That's all.
And Glenn, somebody had a super chat about the pinball, about removing a game.
About
if you want to.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't removing the game. I think they want me to do my Star Wars rant. That I'm not sure if it's licensing, you know, but they can't do anything about it. But a lot of us do not like the new trilogy artwork because it's not really Star Wars. It's Kathleen Kennedy's whatever it is. I don't know. But I guess it is. Will it be cabinets released with just original artwork, or it's always going to be that design due to Lucas and Disney requiring that artwork on the cabinet, the pinball machine? Because
Honestly,
some of it's Star Wars, some of
even
it's totally not
don't
Star
know.
Wars. It's fake. It's just not Star Wars.
That's funny you say that. Yeah, I don't really have heavy involvement in terms of the artwork or any of the negotiations on the contract, but I do want to rectify something I said earlier because I saw John here commented that there will be options in the future to raise the height on the cocktail tables, probably something similar to the pinball.
Very nice. Excellent.
Yeah.
So back to the important question about Star Wars and artwork. So on this side of the cabinet, we have our nice original trilogy. We have Luke, we got Leia, we got Han, Chewie, and on this side there are some crazy creatures. No one really understands them. The movies stunk, and they really have no value. So just putting out there, if there's an option not to put that.
Why don't you just do half and half, Glenn? Put the original on one side and put the new trilogy on the other side, so you get the best of both worlds.
Well, that's what's on it now. You have the
Yeah, I was gonna
original.
say that's what they've done, and that's what Glen
Okay,
hates.
so
But-
what's the problem
No,
then?
Here's the problem. Well, actually, I have a solution for people out there. That new artwork seems to be on the right-hand side, so you're going to put your pinball machine up against the wall on the right side,
Oh
just
my
enough to get your
God.
hand in on this side. This way, you don't have to look at that, whatever that is. Ray, poo poo po, I don't know. Whatever that is. Thanks, Kathleen Kennedy, for rooting Star Wars. Appreciate it.
Wow. That's brutal.
This got personal really quickly.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
tell us how you really feel, Glen.
David,
Don't
you
hold
should have had a
back.
better answer for it because now that's all we're going to hear the rest of the night. You do realize that, right?
Well, if you're going to
Yep,
make a Star Wars pinball or like the Star Wars arcade, right? That's a beautiful machine, great artwork on it all the way around. Did a phenomenal job with the yoke, the artwork, everything. Then I got the new pinball machine. Half the machine is beautiful, the other half is it's not.
Tell
Just
us,
saying.
tell us how you really feel,
Well,
Glenn.
it's just one man's opinion.
True, but I
There's
do
a couple
happen to
billion dollars
represent.
in box office
I just
revenue
happen
that would
to
say
represent
otherwise.
about most of the world when it comes to Star Wars. I just happen to know.
Oh man. So since we're on Star Wars, the Star Wars sit down, Glenn, does that meet your standards?
Oh,
The Star Wars that
no.
Arcade 1-Up has, the
Yeah.
sit down bench.
You know what? I
Very
am
cool.
drooling over that because, as you know, I actually have a
Oh,
Star
that's
Wars cabinet
okay.
arcade one up. Oh, yeah, but that's beautiful, and that's great. And I can't wait for the modding community to build the top parks. I know for a fact that once that seat comes out for the Star Wars, someone's going to enclose that sucker, and I cannot wait to see who's the first to do that. Whether it be Bruce Yeager or somebody else, I don't know, but I cannot wait for that seat to come out because when I played it twice. I played it in Dunkin' Donuts back in the day for the stand-up, but the sit-down is just a totally different experience, and I can't wait for that thing to get out. Cannot wait. Because you know what? There's no new trilogy on that. It's great.
What do you think, David? Is that coming anytime this year as well?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a fall launch.
Now that's going to be
But yeah,
sold independently, right? As well as sold as a kit with the cabinet and everything in it. Is that true?
I think right now it's being sold through a retail with the bench and the unit itself. I do think that the team's trying to sell it on our own, like through arcade1up.com, or the bench itself separately. Like, you know what I mean? So you can get the unit without a riser or bench, hopefully, or a bench on its own, so you can retrofit an existing Star Wars. But that probably won't be for a little while right now.
Very cool. Speaking of arcade1up.com, David, you guys have had the website up for a while and you've been selling independently through that. What have been some of the lessons learned and the challenges you guys have faced, being a retailer, so to speak, on your own?
Yeah, so the issue we found with the first pre-order was the delivery. So the issue we're having is like people do pre-orders and they're like, I expect this, or like when people order on Amazon, for example, like today's day and age, consumer behavior is so different. Like they order something, they expect it there same day, next day, following day. So we didn't really understand the consumer mindset. And then when we pre-ordered, we set the expectations that these will be available in, a couple months. But of course, there's logistical hiccups as you're doing this for the first time. So with Burger Time, to tie this all into one story here, we had aimed for a March 1st shipment, which we actually had pre-shipped. We shipped it 2 weeks earlier than we said we were going to. But the issues that had occurred, global pandemic wise, within the time frame of shipping those units had just happened. So when we said this is our one shot to fix it, let's not mess anything up, we shipped it 2 weeks early to make sure we could hit the ship day we promised. And of course, there was still an issue with it. So we're still trying to get the pre-order process right. I mean, we did everything on our end to execute and deliver to the dates we promised. It's just there's certain things that are out of your control, i.e. global disasters. But other things we're learning are price points, shipping costs, stuff like that. We're still playing around with it. We're hoping to have not as expensive shipping in the future. That's something we're always negotiating with FedEx. Some things are just out of our control. Like I think I saw a deck protector go for less than the cost of shipping to someone's house at some point. And I was like, this is crazy. So we're trying to find solutions to make our e-commerce experience, one that people actually enjoy, and one that they can trust and deem credible. So that's something we're always working on and trying to improve.
Awesome. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem, man.
So
Appreciate you guys. You were the first 3 to pre-order. I saw the names.
Yep.
Okay,
Absolutely.
okay.
So before we got to wrap up here, any other questions that you guys have for David? And those of you that are to stick around a little bit for post show, you can always jump in and call in and whatnot and ask him. We'll have a line open. But any other burning questions about the new launch? I mean, unfortunately, pandemic's here. I mean, there's nothing we could do about it for any
A lot
company.
of question marks.
Yeah, I mean, he can only give you so much information. I know, Glenn, you were talking before that you were really excited for those miniature consoles that you could set around.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm looking at getting some of those too to kind of use as decor in the arcade/studio, and I know you're really big on that.
Yeah, I only have 2. Those are expensive, you know, and I've only got 2 of each on those suckers. But the
Only.
Coleco mini cades, I mean, they're just iconic. They have Pac-Man, they have Miss Pac-Man, they got Donkey Kong, they got Frogger, they have Zaxxon. They're just great, and I can't wait to see what they're coming out with. And I know they'll be making more, but I'll definitely be in line with those. Even I got the Robotech that was released by Coleco. They had a Kickstarter last year, and it's just an iconic shell, great design, great game. So I cannot wait for those. But I also can't wait to get my hands on the mini consoles. I want that Atari, I want the Intellivision, I want the ColecoVision, I want the Commodore 64. You guys are gonna make me broke. I gotta be able to go out and get my toilet paper.
I knew he had to have
he's-
something.
And
there.
in like
Put the word
a
premium
month,
on there. You got the
yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah, he got that top of the line stuff. He'll be able to trade that for like 6 arcade 1-ups in a couple weeks, man. Values will keep going up.
It does say premium. Premium's
Yeah.
extra soft.
There you go.
Right there, premium extra soft.
So Zohar wants to know: is there any time frame for possible releases for Mortal Kombat? Now we're back to Mortal Kombat again. That's all right.
Oh, we're still on Mortal Kombat.
Mortal Kombat.
I think
He's
I
all
think we have
about
some
it, man.
Retailers who are interested in relaunching some of Wave 1 by Q4. Like I think that'll be available for holiday. I can't say which retailer now or the timing exactly, but they're on their way. Like I can't guarantee you Mortal Kombat will be one of the re-release titles, but it's up there on the list for sure.
But
Well, here's the thing too. If they're gonna re-release like these cabinets, they gotta have the feature like the NBA Jam. Nothing's gonna be like playing Mortal Kombat over the internet with your friends somewhere else, like watching Steven or Doug beat the crap out of me in Mortal Kombat. It'd be just great, you know. So any cabinets get re-released, like they're both like, yeah, we're gonna do it. But in any case,
Absolutely.
I think Arcade One, if they do release cabinets like the old style, it would really be a nice feature to have that connectivity to play your friends elsewhere. Because then I could play them in Asteroids and wipe the floor with them. So it's, give and take.
Definitely. I mean, when you guys think about it, we redeveloped NBA Jam in an arcade format for the first time ever to be online capable. So the company had taken a step outside of its comfort zone instead of just manufacturing arcade machines to developing games. So for the first time ever, we did that. And, kudos to the team again for the development because it really turned out fantastic. It's very streamlined, very, very easy to do. But Scott invested a lot of money to do that. So to do it on every single re-release, probably not. But there may be a title or two that does come with it. And I'm telling you right now, the fact that he's making it free is really just like a hat tip to the community. You know what I mean? Like he's not charging any ridiculous like hourly fees or monthly fees or any sort of subscription base. He's just, you buy the unit, free online capabilities. He's funding that himself. He funded the development himself, and it's just going to be a fantastic experience for you guys. I really look forward to jamming out with you guys over the internet. Especially if things continue to lean towards social isolation. It would be nice to connect that way. Yeah,
absolutely.
So
until the power grid goes down, we have no internet.
Oh, don't even say that.
Debbie Downer over there.
Hey, David, real quick. Somebody reminded me of a question, and we're gonna have to wrap at least this portion of it up. Silver Strike Bowling apparently was shown at CES on with the Golden Tee. Is that still in the works? Because somebody said that it was removed from the floor a day or two after it was shown, was that a oops or was that a signs of things to come?
Yeah, I don't think that was supposed to be on the show floor. If I'm being honest, that was a mistake.
I can
on
tell
our
by
end,
your
so
reaction.
I can't. Yeah, can't comment on that one.
Okay. I
Sorry,
just I no again somebody had stated that. But anyways, David, thank you so much for joining us. You guys check him out, arcade1up.com. Any parting words for everybody, David?
I always have a hard time with these because I say the same thing every time. So I'm gonna try and think of something unique. In this time of panic and stuff and fear, just try and, spend time with your loved ones, enjoy your downtime, additional hours at home, recuperate, charge yourself up, and enjoy life because, it's too short. There's too much panicking going on. Just try and, enjoy your best life and just do what you enjoy. Some people may enjoy playing games. Some people may enjoy spending time with their family, but just, do what makes you happy.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us and taking time. For those that are in post-show, he'll stick around for a little bit. Also, I want to thank Mr. Douglas Smith, youtube.com/cooltoy. Go subscribe. I don't need to tell everybody to subscribe. They know where you're at.
Yeah, find me. Or I'll find you.
Yeah, or he'll beat you. And also, Glen Planameno, check him out, youtube.com/Glen's Retro Show. And you just did a recent video with Mr. Critics.
Correct.
So y'all want to go
Critics,
check out.
Yes. He's a good guy too. Nothing more to say. He's a
I was
really
gonna say
good guy. Doing some,
just David,
yeah.
but then nobody knows like you just
Yeah.
said David
One
McIntosh.
of the things about the Unqualified Critics is he seems to understand that the TurboGrafx 16 is superior than the Sega Genesis.
Now you're ganging up on me. You found a supporter.
Oh, wait, I'm in
The
Sega.
minions.
I'm in
the
Sega
minions
camp
are
with
coming.
you. I'm in Sega camp with you until I get it,
There we
Doug.
go.
So we're
Two
there.
versus
So
two.
it's a
You've
tag
been in
team
the Sega
going
camp
on.
for about 15 minutes. You've been in the Sega camp 15 minutes. Come on.
Wait a
You
second.
can't even count that.
All growing up, my brother wanted Nintendo. I wanted Sega. He can tell you that. Okay, so I'm telling you.
So your brother knew what he was doing and you didn't. He tried to educate you. I get it.
I had the Masters. Anyways, Glen Planameno, check him out, youtube.com/Glen's Retro Show. Guys, I'm the Tech Buzz pretty much everywhere. Go check it out. Again, if you want to subscribe to this podcast, it's in audio and video form everywhere your favorite podcast is at. Go subscribe if you came in late, or if you didn't get to hear the post show, you need to come live because the post show, sometimes things come out. It just happens that way. But really appreciate all you guys tuning in, and we'll see you next week for the Retro Buzz.